Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha. Say it with me, where we bring you what? Cutting edge conversation while, that's right, exploring the quantum possibilities. And guess what? We're going to do it again tonight, and we're going to have so much fun. But before we get started, I want to invite you to connect with us. If you're new, if you're new, you don't really know us. I'm Nori Love. My co-host is Augie Nost, and we're saving our guest for Augie's grand, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Introduction. I was thinking announcement, but no, it's an introduction. But you guys can connect with us at broadcastteamalpha.com. There's a contact form there if you want to chat with us. You can reach us at broadcastteamalpha@gmail.com, or you can come join us on Sundays at the Mastermind Connection. We gather at 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and a bunch of really cool people come together. And for beautiful, loving, and benevolent reasons, we agree on intentions for the world, right? For what's going on in the world. We get really specific about it. And then we do like a guided meditation with a lot of imagery, and we get into the place of love. For technical people, we get into brain heart coherence. We launch our intentions out into the quantum realm, and then we come back and we wait to see the fruits of our labor. And it's so much fun. We've had very specific things happen for individuals that we've intended healing for. We actually had a lady who had pancreatic cancer who joined our group become clear of stage 3 pancreatic cancer. That was incredible. Unfortunately, she didn't maintain the energy to hold it. So she ended up getting the cancer back. But nonetheless, during that time frame, it was a couple of months, she was completely clear of cancer, just to show you that it can really, really be done. So you can come hang out with us. It's 2:00 Eastern on Sunday. At 3:00, it continues on if you want to. We have open discussion, and we talk about some really quantum things. So do come and see us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the chat. Hang on to your hats. We're going to take questions toward the end-ish of the presentation tonight, the interview tonight. And thank you for your super chats. We're always so grateful when you are saying yes to generosity. So thank you for that. Augie, I know I was long-winded tonight. Tell us about the amazing Kimla Lowe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. We have a great guest, and you're going to love her because she wears many hats, and she does a lot of the things that many of us would wish that we did. Let me tell you a little bit about her first. She is an international best-selling author, an intuitive astrologer, a psychic medium, and a Feng Shui practitioner. Also, she's a tarot card reader and a light resonance healer. She's also in real estate and sale of real estate, and that's where the Feng Shui comes in, because you can position things and create your environment around you that creates great advantages. And this is a science to this, so just stay and make sure you get all of that. And she refers to herself as an energy worker and has a master's degree in metaphysical counseling. Wow. And that is from the University of Sedona. She is also a radio talk show host and has shared her knowledge with people for some 40 years. Wow, that's a long time. You must have started when you were 3. You will find her also at her website. It's at kimlalowe.com. I'm going to spell that KIMLALOWE.com. And today we will also do something unique with Kimla here, because she is an extremely accurate and strong psychic. So we have talked her into giving some short psychic readings from the chat room. If you guys have any questions out there, put it in the chat room, and when we see the question, we will, or Nori will hand it off to Kimla, and let's see what happens. Maybe there's some revelations that you have been waiting for years. Maybe something can come to you. She also, she's been studying with Eastern masters, and especially on this Feng Shui, because that's, I'm going to call it a science because it is repeatable. And that is the science where you arrange your environment around you so you match the vibrations, and great things come from the new emerging vibrations that come from having things in your house and your surroundings positioned in the best way that it fits for you. So stay with us on this one. And in the last part of the show, that's where we're going to do the psychic readings, or Kimla is. And so stay with us for that one. Until then, we're going to talk about other things. So welcome to the show, Kimla.
Welcome, Kimla.
Oh, thank you so much. It is so nice of you to invite me on the show. You know, I'm a big fan of both of you, your team. I love it. I love all of your guests that you bring on. And I am such a fan of everyone in the chat room. So good evening, everyone. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much. Great introduction, by the way. Wow.
Thanks for joining us, Kimla. We're so happy to have you. So let's just go back to the beginning just for a nanosecond. You are so talented in so many areas, and all of your talents seem to have come together into this beautiful offering, right, on many levels now. How did it begin for you? Were you a little girl and you noticed you had special powers, or how did it begin for you?
Exactly. When I was little, I just thought everybody saw things, and everybody saw their, you know, their grandparents sitting on the end of their bed that, you know, you attended the funeral from. I just, you know, I could see things, I could hear things, and I just thought everybody else did. By the time I was 10 years old, I was going to the library and taking out books on astrology. And back then there were no computers or anything. So, yeah, so I was laying out these big charts at 10 and figuring out all of these calculations, and it was quite challenging. My mom was in on it with me, but we had to keep everything under wraps because we were brought up in the Catholic religion, and that was really a no-no. So we kind of did it when no one was looking, really. No one was really interested in it. And so I started astrology, and that was kind of my gateway really to figuring out the different planets and the sun and the moon and all the constellations and things like that. So it was really kind of a science project for me, but I had no idea that I was prepping myself for, you know, I must have done this in my last lifetime, and it shows up in my chart, actually.
I love it.
And so, yeah, so I kind of, you know, probably missed it, wanted to get back into it, but I found it very interesting because after I started astrology when I was very little, I totally understood my family. Before then, it was just so dysfunctional.
You're able to make sense out of that, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, no wonder he's like that, you know.
What a gift.
Yeah, it kind of all made sense to me. So I was able to, I was really able to kind of put aside the expectations of what, you know, other people thought family was, and really kind of launched from there. So as I was going through school, I wanted to take interior design. So I was in college, and my professor, when she saw my work, she said, you know, you really design with different elements. And she said, have you ever heard of Feng Shui?
Wow.
So
Really?
I have to, yeah, I thought she was talking about Chinese takeout, to tell you the truth. Had no
I'll have a
clue.
large.
I had no clue. And it just so happened that I was in Texas at the time and I was going to UT. And basically, you know, she said, I really want you to research this. So I was able to get into the very first Feng Shui class. Back then it was by Professor Lin Yang, and he came from Taiwan. And I got in the class and it was in San Diego.
Wow,
And
nice.
yeah. And
Yeah.
this is a great story. I have to tell you this story. I think everybody in the chat room is going to love it. So when I was taking the seminar, back then, Professor, he was not a grandmaster yet, but he had a translator for his Chinese. And I sat next to a gentleman who came in, and he was constantly asking questions, raising his hand, writing everything down, raising his hand. So his questions kind of overtook our whole entire seminar. And the professor was tickled that he was writing everything down and had all of these questions. Well, I was getting a little annoyed. And so I said, when I come back from lunch, I'm not sitting next to this guy. It's just too distracting. My energy was just about ready to explode. So I came back from lunch and I sat in another chair. And the next day, this guy comes in. His head is shaved. He has a monk, you know, orange saffron robe on, sandals. And he's still doing this the whole entire time. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know how much I can take of this. And at the end of a week's seminar, the professors, you know, asked us that if we would like to write a book, that he would go ahead and he would endorse it because he was bringing the concept of Feng Shui to the Western world. And in that, this particular gentleman that I had sat next to, David Daniel Kennedy, ran out, wrote the first book of Western Feng Shui.
Wow.
And became the consultant on the set of the smash hit, the sitcom Friends.
No way.
Oh, really?
So if you look at Friends and you look at all of the placement of where everything was, he had a direct line to Grandmaster Lin Yang. And that also came about with the financial negotiations for their contracts.
Wow. Amazing. Brilliant.
If you know anything about that, they were the highest paid actors for television sitcom. Yeah.
Brilliant. So let's talk about Feng Shui. I love Feng Shui. I've practiced it. I think I read a book about it once. And then every place that I moved, I'd get the bagua out. And, you know, now I have a collection of everything that I need because as we were talking about before the show started, you were saying that you have to, you blend the elements. So it's a little bit of alchemy. It's not just, you know, the flow of energy, but it is the flow of energy. And, you know, I've become so sensitive to it. We were talking about this before, that when I walk into a place that's not good Feng Shui, I feel like the energy, I feel like I bump up against a wall. Like, whoa, what was that? You know, because the energy doesn't, I'm so accustomed to the energy flowing because of what I've been able to create. So tell us about that, Kimla. I mean, is it the flow of energy or what is it?
You know, you have such a highly sensitive aura about yourself. and a lot of us do. And a lot of us that call ourselves light workers are extremely sensitive. We're extremely sensitive to anyone changing anything in our environment. And that includes the temperature as well. We can feel the barometer drop when the weather comes in. No one has to tell us to turn on the TV that we know the weather is changing.
Yes.
But in feng shui is actually a study of the environment. And in Chinese, feng shui literally means wind and water. And how that came about is that many dynasties ago, dragons actually were on the planet Earth. They actually lived here, and they lived within the mountain ranges, and they called it the Dragon's Lair. And so this particular lair, it's kind of like their home, and they're very protective of it. And so through the mountain ranges, you will have this particular dragon energy. This to the Chinese was very, very powerful. And so when they were looking to place a village or the best place to live, they would hire, or they would ask the feng shui expert in the village to go and to locate where the dragon's lair is actually located. And you did not want to have the wind so fierce that your house would be, vulnerable to any type of storms, or your crops would be swept away. And what happens also is that this particular power chain ends when you come to the boundary of the water, whether it's a river or a lake or the ocean or a pond. So that's where the power line ends. So you don't want to also have your village too close to the water as well. In case of a flood, you'll get wiped out, you see, or you won't have specific ingredients for good soil. That way you won't be able to really get the sun down there as well. So there was a lot of consideration about this. And feng shui has really been brought up from a book. It was a very, very long time ago. And it was a book of burial. And the Chinese believed that once their elders passed, that if they buried them in a very, very well-placed gravesite, that they would receive blessings. And they would pass upon the blessings down to their children and their children, and create this wonderful good luck and legacy. And so when we talk about feng shui, we talk about we have to take into consideration when feng shui was first used, which was used for the burial. And that we refer to in the Tai Chi. So anything to do with death, burial, also female energy is considered yin. Anything that you're alive, you're bright, you're in action, you're male, that or aggressive, that is a yang. So as we put them both together, we have the yin and the yang. And this goes back so far. Actually, it goes back, they've had a finding of a big wooden casket, and they have dated it 6,000 years ago. And when they opened this casket up, it had been frozen in the Himalayas. When they opened it up, it was a female. She was tattooed, by the way. Some of her hair and nails were still in place. She had feng shui markings in the inside of her casket.
Wow. So for a good send-off, right?
This is exactly. So this goes to show that they were very, very worried, and it was a high priority to really bury, your elders. And this particular female was she was a chiefess, goddess, and she had definite markings and dressings and things within her particular casket that denoted that she was a high-ranking female. Okay,
Wow.
so this goes back a very, very long time. And as we go through the dynasties, we come up with different tools that we started to see come into existence, like the bagua. And the bagua is an eight-sided tool that we use with every direction on it corresponds with a color and a number. And this particular bagua is used, you put the north basically at the entryway of your home. And then you can quickly see where your relationship sector is, or your wealth sector. And when you have this overlay over a floor plan, you can quickly see how this particular tool can work for you. The thing about this tool is you can use it also if you go into each and every room. So the bagua is ever changing as it goes into each and every room. When you learn about where the wealth locator is, you learn about the direction that it literally links up the frequency and the vibration to that direction. Mm-hmm. So what we learn about is we bring in the next compass, and the Lowe compass is a very intricate tool. This particular compass is it's a flat compass. It has many layers and rings to it. And it's called the 24 Mountains. And it has 360 degrees in it and 15 degrees per sector. So let's just take a look at the South. The South has South. It has South direction 1, and it has South direction 2. So we can pinpoint the exact ley line inside a floor plan because the South rules fame. It rules recognition, and it's under the element of fire. So if you're asking me where the best possible place to put maybe your outdoor fire pit or your fireplace, or perhaps how to incorporate your kitchen and where to put the stove, I'm going to go by that. But what makes it even more interesting is this particular Lowe compass has a way of predicting as well. And we have something called a time element. And the time element comes with different formulas of Feng Shui. So we have different formulas that we can use. And one is called the flying star formula. And we can talk about the purple, white flying stars, but this adds the elements of time. And every year there is a new type of alchemy that comes into planet Earth, because planet Earth is breathing constantly, and it's inhaling, it's exhaling, and it brings up different places on the planet as it goes through time. And so these are all taken into considerations. What is being brought up into prosperity and what is being highlighted, and what areas are going to be going flat, or perhaps bring in a challenging type of wind, we call it, that really kind of we need to cure and we need to take notice of, so it does not turn into maybe overwhelming challenges within our home. Now, each and every one of us have our best directions and we have our worst directions. And so when we take all of this into consideration, we come up with this wonderful layered consultation that you will see by using all of the tools that we have. Plus, I'm certified in Chinese astrology, so we can actually look into your Chinese astrology that's based on your birth time and your
Wow.
location and your date and all of that. And we see what elements you're made of.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Wow.
Now we get into
Wow.
the alchemy of this, because me by myself, I am missing totally from my Chinese chart the element of metal. So I make sure that I always have metal on me to replace that particular element that is missing. But in your home itself, it has a birth chart. And this particular birth chart is birthed into what we call a period, a specific period. And it goes into 180 year cycle, and it's 20 years per period. We're in period of 8 right now. We're about to give birth to period 9. And this is very exciting, because period 8, and you probably know, if you know anything about Feng Shui, lucky 8s. If you had your phone with 8s at the end or the beginning or somewhere, if you had an 8 in your address, even if you had an 8 in your license plate, in Hong Kong, you could not possibly get anything with the number 8 in it. It had been absolutely, it was so expensive to get a hold of anything as far as addresses or anything else. Now, 8 is an earth element. So we had a lot of building going on the last 20 years. Think about all of the home improvement shows we've had, or how much the awareness came about what you want to build for yourself, or how you wanted it built, because people were building homes, they were building offices, they were doing things, they were developing these particular floor plans. And as far as the Feng Shui goes, you can build something that is meant or built for bankruptcy, or you can build something that's built for wealth and prosperity. Which would you rather have?
Hello. There's no choice there. And even, Kimla, I mean, it gets so specific as to where your head of the bed is placed, right? I mean, it shouldn't be by a window. It says, I think it is that your life energy goes out if you have a window over your bed, or
Yes, if you have your headboard up against a window, and what happens is that's when we go into our yin state, our subconscious, state. And so mirrors are another portal, the window's another portal, and you really don't want to go flying out the window or have any other spirits coming in, because what happens is that when you lay down, and you must have a headboard, this is very important. I really want everybody to have a nice, solid headboard. That's your support in life.
Really?
So if you have children that are, wanting to be flat on the floor, please get them a headboard. If you have college students, they're not going to feel supported by mom or dad, the university, or their peers, or their group. You have to get them a headboard. So when I say this, it's the headboard and the alignment that really needs to be looked at as to the coordinates inside of the bedroom, but also it has to match up with what your best direction is. So there are specific directions to improve on your health. And so what we do is when we lay down, we open up the top chakra, our head chakra, our crown chakra, and that's where we take in the energy. So we want solid, supportive energy coming in from our best direction. I have a very sad story, and that is about a nurse. She was fighting her 3rd stage of going around with cancer. And by the time they located me and I got over to the house, there are 2 separate groups you can be of, your East group or your West group. This is in the Kwa formula. And in this particular formula, she was the only one in her house. She had 4 little boys and her husband. She was the only one out of the East group. They were all out of the West group, which means they had different best directions within the home. Wow. So she literally was sleeping in her death sector this entire time.
Wow.
When I finally got in there, I located not only within the home, but outside the home, there's also 2 types of chi or energy. One is char chi, one is chen chi. Char chi is the very harmful energy. They had a huge energy tower to her best direction. So it was zapping of her best directional energy, and she was fighting this. Wow. When I finally brought her awareness as to what was going on, we went over to her mother's house. Now, her mother's house was totally coordinated to her best directions. So we started her on another treatment over at her mother's house. She ended up also going to Mexico and trying an alternative procedure there. When she came back, she was so full of life. She didn't want to go back to the house, but the 4 little boys were wanting her to go back. Mm-hmm. And so, as we all do, when we think we've got this licked and we're feeling really good, we're going to say, oh, I can handle that. And she went back to the family home where she started having seizures.
Yeah. Kim, regarding what you were saying, what was Chen Chi?
Okay, so Char Chi and Chen Chi. Chen Chi is good. It's like a good flow of energy coming in when things are open, when they're not cluttered. We have Char Chi when we have an angle or a point coming at us. If you have a dresser in your bedroom, and that dresser has that point to it on top, and it's lined right up to you as you're sleeping, you're going to toss and turn and be really, really restless the whole entire time. And there's different ways that we can work with that. And that's why we love round things without any harsh edges on them.
Nice. I love this. I could talk about this all night, but I think people want to ask you some questions for a little bit of your psychic perception, if we may. Are you up for that?
I am.
Yeah, I got a comment first that I just got to slip in there because I have an experience with this also. When I was here in Tucson 20 years ago, when I was living down on the prairie, we had a large house, east and west. It went east and west. The entrance was on the south side. And it was probably a little disorganized inside. But I had a friend, Gary, came over, and he practicing like you do. And he went through the thing and he said, this is what you want to do. And even went down to the point where he says, you need a red doormat. I went and got a red doormat. And he said, because of the cactus you have on the back side of the house, it says, if you had the entrance to the house on the north side of the house, I would have told you to move. There were cactus all the way out there. And on the south side, it was open to the sun. And I tell you, after he did that, I prospered so much. It was wonderful what happened afterwards. So I tell you, I'm right in your camp on this one.
So I love that. And Kim, I have to ask this because I've been so difficult to live with because of this, but I think it's a good thing. What happens if you leave the toilet seat up?
Oh, in real estate, this is one thing that I love to instruct realtors upon, showing a house, or when you have an open house or whatever that is. The toilet is known to be full of bacteria, obviously odors and all of this kind of thing. But actually, any kind of plumbing, whether it's your laundry or your shower or your bathtub or any kind of drain, but your toilet for sure, if it is left open, you are losing money. So you must close the lid on the toilet. And I always say to realtors out there, listen up, because this is the thing. If you show a house and all the toilet seats are open, very rarely will you get your listed price.
Wow.
Very rarely. If they're all shut, closed, and I've seen photographers go into a home and take pictures of bathrooms with the toilet seat up, and I'm like, but in the real estate market, as crazy as it is, people are now buying homes just digitally, just right off of the pictures that they are seeing. So it's really, really important that you do not have a cluttered mess. Another thing, you look at pictures and a bed is not made. There's laundry sitting in the hamper. There are toys everywhere. The kitchen is so cluttered, you can't even see the countertop. That's when dense energy starts to accumulate. That's negative energy within the home that you have to clear. Okay. Before you do any type of feng shui, please, please, please clear your space. Organize, throw out the clutter. These are things that really takes precedence over feng shui, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to enhance your space. And we can't enhance anything if it's all clutter, because what we're doing is we're actually enhancing your clogs, your blockages, your challenges. Did you know that feng shui, actually there's an imprint of the body that we put on the floor plan itself, and your head goes right to the front door. And it's like you're laying down, and so your arms are spread out and your legs are spread out. And if there is something that is, a blockage or an impediment, you're going to feel that in your back. You're going to feel that in your shoulder. You are going to feel all of these particular things. So when we talk about things you don't want to have, you don't want to have those big, heavy overhead beams. That's something that is an architectural feature. I know a lot of interior designers like that rustic look. What you're actually doing is you're cutting your body in half with those big, heavy beams. You have to be very careful you're not sleeping under one of those.
Wow. Wow.
One quick comment on pets. Everybody's got pets. Well, not everybody, but can you comment on that in the house? Anything to consider?
Absolutely. When you take the chi of the home, and let's say you clear it and it's just been all saged and salted and the windows are up and everything is fabulous, because the windows of your house, it's like your eyes, it's the window to your soul. And as you're cleaning out all of these wonderful things, you bring your pets in, and pets add to wonderful chi within the home. When they scamper and they bark and they play and they jump, they stir around some wonderful chi that is perfect for the home, as does music. Turn your fans on, that gets it going. There's a unseen wind that is around each and every one of us. And sometimes when we just sit in the same chair and we have the same colors around us all the time, and we eat in the same spot, the chi dies. And when the chi dies, it starts to grow a fungus inside of you.
Mm.
And it invites other low energy inhabitants to come in and play with you. And to keep you on that low energy. And you're wondering why you can't get out of the depression you've been in, why you can't jump out of bed in the morning, why things don't come to you.
Where do you put the cat litter box?
A lot of people say, well, we put it in, we put it in the laundry room, or we put it in the bathroom because that's where their toilet space is. And I agree with that. I say that's on the same lines. If you really do put it in the kitchen, it's not something that is desirable. We want to keep our counters clean in the kitchen area. Also the bedroom. You don't want to have anything as far as something, as far as bacteria or waste going on in the bedroom. So it's very important to see if your headboard is on the other side of a bathroom. We have to cure that. So this is the important thing. Not everybody can have a perfectly perfect, even when you build a home, not everybody can have everything absolutely perfect, because I've studied with Master Lin Young, but I've also studied with Master Lillian too, when she first came to Los Angeles in her first seminar. And I have asked her and her daughter Jennifer to please consult with me when I was building my home down in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. And they were fabulous with me, and they gave me so much insight. So I want to thank them again for all of that.
Thank you.
But I learned so much from working with my mentors and my masters about that.
Good.
So, yeah.
I think we may have some questions in the chat room, don't we?
Okay.
We do.
And if you have any questions about Feng Shui or what's going on in your home, let me know.
So good.
I'd be happy to give you some insights.
Yes, so good, really. Let's see, let me go back a little bit. So Zora Wali asks, what am I not seeing? Where will I be living for the next half year?
Okay, something, what is really funny, Zora, something's coming up for you, and I think you are going to run into somebody that you haven't seen for a while, and they're going to give you a tip or a message or something like that. But it's like them, it was a friend or somebody you've worked with before. But I feel like this is a real, oh, you should go check out blah, 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 blah. And it's like you haven't seen this person forever. And, just take the advice that they say, because you're going to jump on that right away. And it's going to be really good for you. You're going to start a new chapter, by the way. And, you're a very unique individual. And sometimes you feel as though you're kind of a square peg in a round hole. And I want to tell you that you are absolutely unique, and the rest of the world is catching up with you. So I want you to concentrate on your creative abilities. You have tons. And don't worry about the place that you're coming. It's coming up for you, and it's going to be almost like a breath of, like springtime, a breath of fresh air for you. And you're going to be well liked by all of your neighbors, and it's going to be a really good thing. I think what's going to happen also is you're going to get some type of an additional money coming in, so that you won't have to worry about, let's just say, a bump up in perhaps budgeting. I feel like this is all going to be coming together for you, but I really want you, when you worry, you put up these big, huge blocks. So I don't want you to worry. I want you to trust, and I want you to expect the absolute bliss, heavenly place that you will deserve, because it's coming for you. But it's from this friend that you haven't seen in a really long time. I think that you want to take a course. And I feel like anything that you learn, you like to turn around and teach to others. And that's a good thing.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Question from Margaret Parker. Are my children safe?
Are your children safe? Are your children safe? I feel like, yes, they're safe, they're protected. For some reason, I hear plan B. There's a plan B for them. So wherever your children are, I feel like, yes, they're safe, but they do have a plan B. And I feel as though one of your children, tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but they're very musical. And yeah, they're very musical. Has a big mission on the planet as well. So I think they're all protecting each other. So yeah, they are. Yes.
That's good. So we have one more question like that. This is from Jennifer Frederick. Is my son safe?
Is your son safe? I feel like your son's been going from place to place to place to place. And I'm going to put Archangel Michael around him, only because I feel like there could be something coming up. I feel like this could result in something that he wants to go from point A to point B. And I feel like he really needs to have a lot of protection around him in order to make that journey, or in order to do that. So I feel like if we could all just, really concentrate and put this particular person in a nice bubble, and to put him in a silver suit of armor, and that we allow Archangel Michael to really lead him where he needs to be. Because I really feel as though where he is, he's kind of wanting to go someplace, and he really needs to be protected when he's doing that. So I feel like with Archangel Michael's help, he's going to be just fine.
Oh, that's beautiful. Nancy asks, is the work I'm doing going to help push my business forward?
The work you're doing, push your business, the work you're doing, push your business forward. Okay, so the work that you're doing shouldn't be work, it should be play. I have a feeling that your business, there's something you need to learn, or there's something, a new skill or something that's coming on board for you. And I feel like, I just feel like there's more creative expression. So this particular skill that you're going to learn is going to give you more creative expression, so that you can make that learning curve, that leap, you can upgrade that. But I want you to not say the word work. I want
Boy.
It's a little frozen. Come on back, Kimla.
Am I there? Hello.
And there you are.
There
You're
you
back
are.
now. Yay. The energy was high.
Yeah.
Frozen again.
Work. This is your service. This is your joy. This is why you're here. And that everyone, it's either a gift or a lesson, but everyone wants your exchange. But for you to be satisfied with you need to learn the skill that's coming up for your business, so it can help you with your wonderful creative expression for others. I do feel like there's a lot of healing going on in that work that you're talking about, work. And I think that it's a portal that needs to be opened up, so it just flows through you. Okay. So do it through meditation, because that portal will open up, and then it'll just flow through you. And this will just be a wonderful service to humanity. It won't be so much in the business category.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And Greg asked earlier about his health. Greg,
about your health. Okay, right away, I'm picking up there's a imbalance in alkaline and acidity. And I feel like it's throwing all your levels off. I don't know if there is something that can be tracked in the blood as well. I don't think you have the right building blocks to make really good blood. I would really love to work with you on this one to see what exactly is the imbalance, because I feel like, you know how sometimes people can eat meat. They can eat a whole steak and it goes, you know, it builds muscles and everything's great. But with you, I feel like there's allergies involved. I feel like there's an imbalance involved. I feel sometimes like people can eat meat. They can eat a whole steak and it goes, you know, your cells are turning great backwards, trying to, you know, heal a couple of different places within the body as well. So I feel like if we do, you know, a timeline and a chart on you and really get some insight on you, we can really marry that with the spirituality and also, you know, with doctoring. And I think the medical frequency that you will get will finally make sense. And finally, you're going to see some results. And I think that that would be good. But you've got to take charge of that situation, hon.
That's so good. So good. This is from our friend Paulo. He said that he would love a reading. I guess whatever comes up, because he's been struggling for a long time now.
He's been struggling for a long time. Right away, I get that, you know, there's karma. He's on a karma bender here. He's got to give back, you know, and things. It's just like, you know, some people, you know, they try their best. They've got a great heart. It's just like, oh, I just keep getting slammed. I keep getting slammed. And when I see that there's blockages happening either where you're living or something in your pattern that needs to be dissolved within the energy field. So it could even go back as far as like a family kind of thing. And I feel like this is really what's keeping you on this, like, you know, Groundhog Day. You know, you just can't get ahead. You can't bust out of it. So, you know, I really think, you know, a regression hypnotist could really help you in kind of pinpointing some things from the past. And then we'll go into what your soul mission is here, what your purpose is, get you back on track, throw off, dissolve those patterns that maybe, you know, you are trying to become aware of so that you can go forward. This period 9 in Feng Shui is absolutely fabulous. You know, in period 8, it was all about the earth. It was all about using your hands. It was all about building. This period 9 that's coming up in 2024, and some people have said that it's already in existence. It's already blending through. This is going to go into an absolute place we have not been. This is going to be all about artificial intelligence, the home. You're not going to have doors anymore. You are just going to go through like a vacuum and you'll be into another place. You're not going to have artwork or paintings on a wall. What you're going to do is you're going to go into a capsule and you are going to be in that environment. It's kind of like if you have your beach scene picture, you are actually going to be on the beach. It's going to be virtually there. And also food is going to be it's overhaul, total overhaul on food. Also the heart is going to leaps and bounds everything that they're going to find out about the heart. And also you're going to have protective lenses inside your eyes because the light is going to be so overbearing. We are going to need light shields inside of our eyes as well.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. Shady D one of our friends
Maybe.
here. When and where will my house be built? Will I build it alone or will I be sharing it with someone?
When and where? I see, it's funny because Shady, you've got two different ideas that are on the rails here. You have to choose which one you want, because I see water and I see this and that. Then I also see rolling hills, kind of like a Virginia scene or something like that as well. You've got two rails going. You decide which one you want, because the universe is going to give it to you. I have a feeling you want to be really proud about doing this one on your own. And I think you're going to have a wonderful team around you to do it. I think you should wait till we get into the next period, so that you're not stuck with stuff that you really can't use anymore when all of this new technology comes into play within the home. That's what's holding you back. It's not anything else, except there's new stuff. You can feel it. Shady D, you can feel what's coming down the pike. And you're like, what's holding me up? How come I'm not doing this? Why? Because the big push in the technology hasn't arrived yet. I feel like you're the one that's going to be like the first one out of the block, and you're going to show us all how to put it all together.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty prophetic.
That's good.
Let's see. There's a question, okay, that Mac wants me to. So Infinity Quantum Chi asks, where or when do you feel would be my next permanent home and a healing center?
Your next permanent home and healing center. I feel like there's a lot of healing around you. It's kind of one of those things where, I don't know, have you ever heard of like Doctors Without Borders? I kind of feel like you are Gypsy Healer Girl. You've got this, and how funny, I don't know if you can see the card, but this is the card I just picked. It's health and healing. You're fabulous. I don't know if you really need to anchor yourself down to do that. I feel like you're wanted in so many different portals on the planet that you would be really doing the humanity a disservice and nailing you're down to one place. We want you everywhere, darling. Your key is like everywhere. So we want you everywhere. I feel like you should, maybe go on to I don't know, some kind of a circuit or seminar or something, so that you can reach the masses. I love that about you. And the thing about you is it just comes out of you like your solar plexus. Boom. It's just,
well, if everybody wants him, then it's up to him to choose.
Her. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. All right. So I have a question. What do you see for the Center for Radiant Well-Being?
Well, this is what I see. I see that in the next, and I want to say probably because you're Aquarius, I can see it in your face.
With Aquarius rising. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Aquarius rising. So you are putting together something that is kind of, and I want to say all encompassing. Okay. So it's kind of like, I want to also say not only the wellness and the health is definitely there, but I want to also open that up to a new level of beauty. And this is going to align with period 9 in saying that anything to do with cosmetics, anything to do with makeup, anything to do with beauty in its own, even since we're going to be working with a lot of what we breathe in, and how to open ourselves up so that we can hold more light. And this becomes what we call radiant beauty. Yes, and so this is what you're going to capture, and you are going to kind of put this together in a formula or a way that is only unique to you. And so I find that this is going to be, it's going to take off. It's going to be amazing. But I find that it's also going to be a revelation about how we look and how we sense our sense of beauty.
Yes. You're just right on target. So thank you. Such a great confirmation. So great. So great. Well, we're at exactly 9 o'clock. Kimla, tell everybody how they can reach you for a reading, to work with you for Feng Shui, for your astrology, whatever, all of it.
Right. I know. I have a lot on my menu and a lot of services that I do. But for me, there's no boundaries. You know, when you work with energy, you work with energy, whether it's inside of the body, outside of the body, whether it's in the home or the office or schools or your business or whatever it is, it's all energy. So there are no boundaries when you really think about it. And if you want to talk to someone on the other side, there are no boundaries. And so it's all in what you really want as your intention for that time that we have together. So I can really answer your questions. And if you want to make a timeline and get your chart done, because it flows right over into the Feng Shui as well. But you can go to my website, Kimla Lowe, LOWE.com, and go right to sessions and products and pick the package that you would like. And I would love to work with all of you, and just so that we can co-create, you know, the next fun experience coming at us. There's fun stuff coming at us, believe me, there is.
That's so hopeful. Thank you. So hopeful.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us. Augie, do you want to take us out?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Kimla. This was very enlightening, and I'm hoping it was for the people in the chat room also, because, you know, Nora, we've never really done this with the readings like this before.
True.
So this was wonderful. And, you know, I know a little bit about your track record too, because I talked to some people that had actually readings with you, and you probably don't know that. And they were very happy. So I would absolutely recommend. I don't recommend people, but this one I will. So just go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate any referrals, and any friend of yours is a friend of mine, Augie.
Yep. And then thank you again. And then we will be back next week with another guest for us. And Kimla, you have a radio show. We never got to mention that.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about it.
It's called 27 Degrees Sag, the Galactic Center. 27 degrees in your astrology chart pinpoints exactly where in your soul imprint is the galactic center. And that is all of the information that's coming through from the universe. And my show is Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We have a lovely guest. Her name is Jade, and we are going to be talking about chakras, demystifying the chakras tomorrow night. So please stay tuned. It's on YouTube.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Much love, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.